Can one leader rise from the ruins of colonization and rewrite the future of an entire nation? In Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traore is proving that it's not only possible, it's already happening. While much of the world still clings to old, tired images of Africa as a place trapped in poverty and dependence, Traore is quietly leading one of the boldest transformations the continent has ever seen. This isn't about empty speeches or handshakes with foreign powers. This is about real change. Satellites launched from African soil, factories humming where there was once silence, gold mines no longer filling foreign pockets, and the groundwork for nuclear energy laid out not for destruction, but for growth. But what truly sets Traore apart isn't just his courage to challenge the status quo. It's his clear vision of what Africa could be if it stopped waiting for help and started building its own future. He knows the real wealth of Burkina Faso isn't just its gold or minerals, it's the strength, skills, and determination of its people. And he understands something that makes the world's old powers uncomfortable. Africa doesn't need to be saved. It needs to stand on its own. So the question isn't just, what is Traore building? The real question is, why is the world so quiet about it? And how is Burkina Faso, under his leadership, setting the stage for the rest of Africa to follow? Let's dive into the full story. Because Traore isn't just rebuilding his country, he's rewriting the rules of Africa's future. Under the bold and decisive leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traore, Burkina Faso is making history by breaking free from the grip of foreign dominance and reclaiming its sovereignty. The country's latest move has sent shockwaves across the global stage. Prime Minister Jean-Emmanuel Ouedraogo has announced the establishment of Burkina Faso's first defense industry, a monumental step toward self-reliance in military affairs. "We have made the choice to expand our defense sector," declared Ouedraogo, emphasizing that the Burkinabe army possesses the expertise to maintain its military equipment. While this announcement may not have come as a complete surprise, the speed at which Captain Traore is transforming Burkina Faso is astonishing. Unlike leaders who make empty promises, Traore is a man of action. If history is any guide, Burkina Faso will soon begin producing its own weapons, laying the foundation for true military independence. For far too long, African nations have been forced to depend on foreign powers that dictate the terms of their survival, often leaving them at the mercy of arms embargoes when they refuse to submit. The same Western forces that have long exploited Africa's natural wealth have not hesitated to withhold weapons from African governments seeking to defend their people. However, like its allies in Niger and Mali, Burkina Faso has refused to kneel. When Western powers attempted to block the flow of arms to Burkina Faso, nations such as China, Russia, Turkey, and Iran stepped in. But relying on foreign suppliers is not true independence. A nation that cannot produce its own weapons will always remain vulnerable to external pressures. Developing a domestic defense industry is not just about manufacturing arms, it is about reclaiming sovereignty. This is precisely why imperialist powers are desperate to maintain military bases in the Sahel and keep control over the region. They understand that once Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger achieve energy independence, especially through civil nuclear power, complete strategic autonomy will follow. Western powers anticipated this shift long ago. That is why, in 1996, they pushed African leaders to sign the Pelindaba Treaty, effectively preventing African nations from developing nuclear weapons. By blindly signing this agreement, 51 African countries surrendered their ability to stand on equal footing with global superpowers. If you doubt this, look up whether your country signed it. The betrayal is written in plain text. The Alliance of Sahel States, AES, must consider withdrawing from this agreement when the time is right. Without the ability to deter foreign aggression, Africa cannot break free from imperialism. Some have asked whether Captain Traore can truly deliver on this ambitious vision. But the real question is not whether he will succeed, it is how this new defense industry will directly benefit the people of Burkina Faso. And to understand the answer, we need to look beyond just weapons and soldiers, because real strength also lies in building control over the things many take for granted, like the very skies above us. A challenge every African country knows too well: the skies above. For years, the skies above Africa have been controlled by airlines from outside the continent. Whether it's American, European, or Gulf carriers, these foreign companies handle nearly 80% of Africa's air travel. And it's not just people they're flying, every trip carries away Africa's money, control, and independence. The unspoken message has always been the same. Africans can travel, but not on African-owned wings. But that story is starting to change, thanks to Captain Ibrahim Traore. Under his leadership, Air Burkina, the national airline, isn't just getting a makeover, it's getting a complete rebirth. With an investment of $450 million, the plan is to turn Air Burkina into more than just a national symbol. The goal is to make it a world-class airline that can compete with the biggest names in global aviation. This investment isn't about painting old planes and hanging new flags. It's about building a future. Traore's plan covers everything from buying modern aircraft to upgrading maintenance systems and giving Ouagadougou's Donson International Airport a full high-tech transformation, turning it into a hub ready to welcome Africa and the world. But this is bigger than just passenger flights. Traore sees aviation as a lifeline for the economy, helping trade, tourism, farming, and even the tech industry grow stronger. Air Burkina's comeback is designed to turn the country into a key transport hub, linking landlocked nations to coastal cities and global investors. And this isn't just talk. The project has already created nearly 5,000 new jobs for Burkinabe citizens. One thing is clear: Traore understands that no country can call itself free if it depends on others to move its people and products. Reviving Air Burkina is about more than planes. It's about reclaiming control of the skies, the economy, and the country's future. And through this bold move, Burkina Faso is sending a message to the whole world. Africa no longer has to wait for outsiders to lift it up. Africa has the strength, the talent, and the vision to fly on its own. While the world's eyes are on planes soaring through the skies, Traore is making sure that what lies hidden beneath Burkina Faso's soil doesn't quietly disappear. Gold has always been both a gift and a curse for the country. For years, Burkina Faso ranked among Africa's top 5 gold producers, yet the riches never stayed long enough to lift the nation. Foreign companies would dig up the raw gold, ship it away unrefined, and pocket the real profits elsewhere through processing, trading, and speculation. It was exploitation in plain sight, wrapped in the shine of global business deals. But that chapter is closing under Traore's leadership. Right now, Burkina Faso is building its first-ever national gold refinery, a facility capable of refining over 150 tons of gold each year. But this is more than just a building. This is the start of real economic freedom. No longer will Burkina Faso have to accept gold prices set in London or Paris. No longer will it export its raw wealth for pennies, only to buy it back at 10 times the price. This refinery flips the script. It keeps both control and profits at home. For the first time, it will be Burkinabe experts, not foreign corporations, who decide the true value of Burkinabe gold. Beyond the machines and the walls, this project is expected to create more than 100 direct jobs and thousands of indirect ones. But the biggest win isn't measured in numbers. It's about mindset. Burkina Faso is no longer just digging for gold, it's owning its future. With this step, the country is unlocking new ways to fund its schools, roads, hospitals, and industries. The same way oil transformed Saudi Arabia's destiny, gold is now set to fuel Burkina Faso's rise. And the story doesn't stop at gold. This shift also promises real transparency, ending decades of hidden deals, tax dodging, and foreign manipulation. But Traore isn't stopping at minerals. He's also setting his sights on another treasure, one grown, spun, and worn by his people: cotton. For years, Burkina Faso has been West Africa's biggest cotton producer. Yet more than 98% of its cotton was shipped off raw to foreign factories in Asia and Europe, where it was turned into fabric, clothes, and wealth, only for those same products to return to Burkina Faso at sky-high prices. This wasn't trade, it was a quiet, modern form of economic slavery. Now, Traore is breaking that cycle too. His government has begun building 2 large-scale cotton processing plants, a milestone not just for Burkina Faso's industry, but for its future. The goal is to keep the entire cotton journey from the farm to the finished fabric within national borders. That means more jobs, not only in factories, but across farming, transport, tailoring, design, and local tailors and designers will no longer have to depend on expensive foreign fabric to run their businesses. And for once, the cotton that grows on Burkinabe soil will stay in the hands of Burkinabe workers, generating wealth at every step. The plan aims to process 600,000 tons of cotton, locally cutting imports, growing exports, and putting Burkina Faso in charge of its own textile story. But this goes beyond just making clothes. It's about restoring pride and ownership. This cotton revolution sends a clear message to the world. Burkina Faso is done feeding the factories of others. It's time to build its own. From raw material to finished product, the country is turning its hands into the makers of its own destiny. Before we dive any deeper, let us know, are you enjoying the video so far? If you are, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and share it with your friends. Now, let's get back to the story. This transformation isn't just about cotton, it's much bigger than that. One of the clearest signs of this change is rice, a food you'll find on dinner tables in almost every African home. But take a walk through most markets across the continent, and you'll notice something strange. The shelves are packed with imported rice, usually wrapped in shiny, fancy packaging, making it look cleaner and better than the local rice. But here's the truth. It's not better because it's more nutritious or healthier. It only looks whiter and more polished. This trick, based only on appearances, has fooled millions into thinking foreign rice is superior and local rice isn't worth much. Captain Traore wasn't convinced by this lie. He didn't make speeches about it, he let actions speak louder. His government rolled out a smart solution. They supplied 20 state-of-the-art optical sorting machines to rice mills all across Burkina Faso. These machines are designed to scan the rice, remove any bad grains and impurities, and leave behind perfectly sorted rice, boosting both the quality and price of local harvests. This wasn't just about selling more rice. This was about restoring pride. When Burkinabe farmers see their rice looking just as fine and polished as the imported brands, and when people eat what they grow, it changes how the whole country feels about its own produce. Traore's message is clear. What we grow here is not only good enough, it's something we should be proud to put on our tables. But feeding a nation is only half the battle. The other half is about power, the kind of power that keeps the lights on, fuels businesses, and runs industries. Energy, reliable, affordable, and made at home. That's where Traore's next bold move begins, when he announced that Burkina Faso would invest $4 billion to build the first nuclear power plant in West Africa. Many outsiders scoffed. They thought the question was, is Burkina Faso ready for nuclear energy? But Traore was asking a different question altogether. Why should Africa be left behind, when the same technology built the wealth and strength of Europe? For too long, African nations have depended on unstable energy grids, imported fuel, and foreign loans just to keep the lights on. Traore's plan is to flip the script. The new nuclear plant, managed by Burkina Faso's recently created Atomic Energy Agency, is expected to more than double the country's energy supply by 2030. And the benefits go way beyond electricity. Lower power costs will make it cheaper to run factories, attract new businesses, and create more jobs. At the same time, this project will give rise to a new generation of Burkinabe scientists, engineers, and innovators' local minds trained to master one of the world's most advanced technologies. This plant isn't just a place to produce energy. It's a symbol, a loud and clear statement that Burkina Faso will no longer wait for others to power its future. The country will light its own path, but Traore knows that energy without knowledge is useless. That's why, at the very core of all these changes, he's placing the most powerful tool of all: education. Because without educated minds, there can be no real freedom. Without skilled people, even the best-built refineries, power stations, and airports would be nothing but empty shells. That's why, for Ibrahim Traore, education isn't an afterthought, it's the heartbeat of Burkina Faso's future. Since taking charge, Traore has overseen the repair and reopening of hundreds of schools that had been closed for years due to violence and insecurity. For the first time in a long while, children from villages that were often forgotten by past leaders are stepping back into classrooms, carrying not just books, but hope. But reopening schools is only the beginning. Traore's focus isn't just on getting kids into class, it's about raising a generation of thinkers, creators, and leaders. New universities are being built across the country, designed to produce experts in modern industries like technology, healthcare, energy, and farming. Traore's message is clear. Burkina Faso no longer wants to borrow ideas from the world. It wants to grow its own. The plan is to train the engineers who will design and build the country's gold refineries, not just send gold abroad. To prepare the software developers who will read satellite data for Burkina Faso, instead of buying expensive foreign programs. It's not just about filling schools, it's about filling the nation with skilled people who can shape a strong, independent economy. And speaking of shaping the future, one project under Traore's leadership surprised the world: Burkina Faso's bold entry into space. But this isn't about showing off. The government is preparing to launch satellites with real, everyday jobs to help predict the weather, track farm conditions, monitor natural disasters, and map the country's valuable minerals. These satellites will give leaders real-time information, helping them prepare smarter for droughts, floods, and crop shortages. The impact could be huge. Experts believe the growing tech and data industries will create over 5,000 new jobs by 2030. Just using satellite-guided farming techniques is expected to boost rice harvests by 15%. On top of that, this move is likely to attract more than $200 million in international partnerships for infrastructure and technology development. And the ambition doesn't stop there. Burkina Faso is planning to launch at least 3 more satellites by 2030. These new tools will help the country not just in farming and mining, but also in defense, communication, and deep resource discovery. A country once overlooked as landlocked and poor is now setting itself up as a rising digital and space leader in West Africa. But for real change to last, Traore knew the rules of the old game had to be rewritten. For years, unfair mining deals kept Burkina Faso poor, while foreign companies walked away with most of its gold profits. The country's own economy saw only a tiny slice of the billions made from its resources. That changed with a new mining law. Under these rules, the state automatically gets 15% ownership in all mining projects, no negotiation needed. On top of that, at least 30% of every project must be owned by Burkinabe investors, helping to keep profits and decision-making power at home. The old days of tax breaks for international corporations are over. Now, companies must pay their fair share and are expected to work with local subcontractors, meaning more jobs for Burkinabe workers and more wealth staying inside the country. The results speak for themselves. Experts predict that Burkina Faso's mining revenue will soon grow by an extra $500 million every year. On top of that, more than 10,000 new jobs are expected to open up in local businesses that will work alongside the mining sector. And when you combine this growth with the country's new gold refinery, the value of gold exports could triple, jumping from $1.8 billion to an impressive $5.4 billion. But Captain Ibrahim Traore's push for change hasn't stopped at gold. His bold land reforms are shaking the very foundations of the old colonial system that has quietly robbed Africa for decades. For years, foreign companies, banks, and so-called investors have been buying or leasing rich African farmland land passed down through families for generations, often without the local people's knowledge or permission. Deals were signed in foreign embassies, written in languages left behind by colonizers. The result? African farmers found themselves reduced to squatters on their own land, while millions of acres were sold off for next to nothing. But now, Traore is putting an end to this. Under his leadership, Burkina Faso has passed one of the strongest land reform laws in modern African history. This law says that only Burkinabe citizens can own land, not foreign governments, not companies, not private buyers from abroad. That means no more 99-year leases disguised as development deals, no more secret sales of lithium-rich lands, no more foreign-owned golf resorts or mega-farms while local people go without. This isn't just a new policy, it's a true step toward decolonization. Because real freedom doesn't begin with flags or national anthems, it starts with owning the land beneath your feet. Traore knows that any country that doesn't control its own soil is a country that will always remain powerless. Just as he ended one-sided military agreements, forced out foreign troops, and brought Burkina Faso's gold back home through the new refinery, he is now handing the land back to its rightful owners, the people. Through all these bold moves, Captain Traore has kicked off more than just reforms. He's sparking a full-scale transformation aimed at rebuilding Burkina Faso from the ground up. His vision is clear: push the country beyond the limits where colonial history left it stuck, and give it the strength and independence it was always meant to have. It won't be an easy journey, and Traore knows that. But if his efforts so far are any clue, Burkina Faso could be on track to become one of Africa's strongest, most self-reliant nations in the years to come. Now the question is, do you believe Ibrahim Traore can turn Burkina Faso into a model country that will inspire future African leaders to follow his path? Could this young captain be the spark that lights a true African renaissance? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you'd like to hear more stories like this, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.